You might have to turn the
We have
TV
to
on.
turn the TV on.
No, it's right. No, yeah, click on it.
Technology.
2 buttons.
Oh, you're learning it. So. Okay, so it's in this meeting to order, the DRB of Elmore. Additions or deletions to the agenda? Anybody? Well, prior minutes meetings, any changes thereof?
No. The minutes from last meeting have not been published yet.
Well, we'll table that.
I'll take minutes this time.
Okay, well,
Ron.
I was
Or are you
going
gonna
to,
do it?
no, go ahead.
You know what? I'll take minutes and I'll publish them, but everybody check behind to be sure I didn't miss anything.
Oh, I trust you.
Because I use AI to do it. So it's what,
You know, so I
You-
just downloaded.
Yeah.
Meeting note taker.
okay.
Anyway, cool.
Charlie. The next item is elect chair and clerk for coming year, and we'll do that in executive session afterwards. Okay? And swearing of meeting participants. Charlie, you want to manage that for us?
Anybody here tonight would like to testify or say anything? Raise your right hand and swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And you,
I do.
sworn, as
Just questions.
long as it's truthful. A note for the minutes that everybody just now sworn in.
Okay, we have a number of issues tonight on conflict of interest, although not all of the DRB and or conflicted parties are here yet, so. Do what we can now.
I would suggest that since the applicant and the landowner are not here yet, we move on to the
That's what we're gonna do.
second hearing.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Anybody conflicted on the second item? That's the modest.
Is there anybody here that would like interested party status in the Demata application?
Can you define interested party for us?
The DRB has certain administrative obligations with respect to interested persons. At any hearing, there must be an opportunity for each person wishing to achieve interested person status to demonstrate compliance with the applicable criteria. The DRB must keep a written record of the name, address, and participation of each person who has sought interested person status. Copy of any decision rendered by the DRB must be mailed to every person or body appearing and having been heard by the DRB.
We're not
Upon receipt of the notice of appeal to the environmental court. Anybody here interested in being an interested party to the Demata application?
Okay.
The administrator notes that there is no response.
Noted. So why don't you take us through the beginning of this and see where we go.
We've got Zachary and Elizabeth Demata are here, the applicants and landowner. Also got Matt Lutz from Ray's office. And they're gonna make a presentation.
We have sets of drawings for most of you, I believe.
Okay.
We only need one.
You want to set?
Yeah. File. Thank you.
You want to set?
I give you just a quick background is that the Dematas had an application a couple of years ago to put an addition on their home, which in the meantime, they decided not to pursue. However, they did receive DRB approval. And so this is a revision of that earlier approval, significantly reducing the square footage and coverage. And so that's where we are, and so we hope to move forward.
Certainly. You want to present? You want to present?
Either way.
Yeah. If you want to.
So, essentially on page
C 101. You'll see the addition footprint of the house, which is in blue here. And then you'll see a dashed outline in the pink area.
Yep.
That dashed outline is an existing garage that we plan to remove from the house. And then add this pink area, which is new insulated space. In addition to that, we would add this in the yellow area, you'll see a covered porch / deck area, which is impervious surface. That is essentially the project in a nutshell, to remove the garage and add an insulated bedroom / laundry room entryway in its place. And that is additional square footage over the garage.
Will there not be a garage going forward?
There is not a garage plan. We don't have that plan right now. We're not really
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, we don't really use it as an.
There has been some stormwater mitigation work done in 2025, I believe. That includes the installation of a rain garden along Camp Road and 3 check dams going from Camp Road to the wall.
And what is the setback? Waterfront setback.
Right now, to the existing house, it's 20 feet 10 inches plus or minus a few inches. The new setback. Well, the new addition is about 20 feet more, so the new addition is about 40 feet further back. Yeah.
Excuse me, going forward, let's have the board ask questions and then the public can ask questions afterwards. It's all right, I let you, it's fine. We try to be not too formal.
Yeah, throw the gavel down.
If I bought one for a previous chair, but who knows what to do with it. Questions on the deer?
So on the blue hash versus the solid line. Explain what that represents.
Yeah, so the blue hatch here is the existing house and the existing deck.
Okay,
And that's all staying there.
That's all staying. We are rebuilding the deck, but in its existing footprint at its existing elevation. The columns are a little tender, so.
mhm.
My understanding, Charlie, is that in the Shore District, you can rebuild an existing footprint. But this is an expansion of an existing footprint. So can you just explain the nuance of what they're requesting versus what's allowed?
There's some very good examples in the bylaw, which allows for existing camps to be enlarged away from the lake. Either side and away from the lake, but not in any case going closer to the lake.
Which this looks like it is.
Well, it's the existing deck, so
No,
that's
the
something
pink-
being
the
rebuilt.
The existing deck remains and they can
Right.
repair and replace the existing deck.
Mhm.
So
So the yellow is existing deck?
The yellow is new.
Okay, so the
New
pink,
deck.
So there is
Pink is new.
the pink square dotted line is the existing garage. And then there's the new pink that looks like it extends a little bit. I know it's a little, I mean, maybe, I don't know the scale, maybe it's only a foot. But it does look like it extends beyond that towards the lake. Am I mistaken?
It does.
Okay.
It does, yeah.
But it doesn't go,
It doesn't go any further than the existing.
exactly. The existing house is much closer to the lake than that.
Than the
so-
house, yes.
Yeah.
But we're talking about
That
the
fall,
addition and the garage footprint.
right.
Depends on the wording of the statute.
Yeah.
Wait.
Depends
Uh,
on-
when was the garage already removed?
No.
Okay, so the garage is still there.
It is.
I didn't know if it got removed
Okay.
to the other permitting and Okay, so it's still there. That's good.
Okay.
I'm looking at, there's several examples here.
We could read that the words are,
There's an expansion of a non-conforming structure, which this is. And that talks about impervious surfaces. And then there's a non-conforming structure mitigation, which adds vegetation. If you're within the 100-foot buffer, you can request additional planting mitigation. And then there's non-conforming structure mitigation, stormwater capture and infiltration, which is what they went through at their previous hearing. They had a stormwater plan by a consultant, and they've completed that work, and we have documentation on the completion of that work.
So it sounds like the first one that we need to understand clearly if this was a non-conforming replacement. So can you read for us what the bylaw says about that?
It says, where the expansion of a non-conforming structure is permitted, Development Review Board may require the applicant to return any mowed or cleared areas to a naturally vegetated state with supplemental planting of appropriate native vegetation in order to meet or exceed the vegetation protective standards provided in section 2.6F above.
That's
They're
not-
not proposing to cut or clear any vegetation.
So then these are just examples of where they're revegetating and things. I think we need the clarification on replacement of an existing structure in the shoreline district.
Well, they're not replacing a structure, they're adding on to a structure.
They are tearing down
Basically-
and replacing in an existing footprint. So that's, we're looking for you may build within an existing footprint.
The garage now that's there is freestanding. It's not attached to the house.
Correct.
Yeah. So they're tearing down freestanding garage. That's one thing that they're doing. And then they're expanding the house.
And what I'm looking for is and we just need the bylaw. The bylaws in the shore district usually say you can replace what is there in the footprint of the building that was there, but you may not expand the footprint of what was previously there. And what Charlie said to us earlier was you can do it away from the lake, but not toward the lake. And I think that we just need to understand exactly what it says about the restriction on building outside of an existing footprint. Because the pink is outside of an existing footprint.
same thing.
Charlie, can I go to the zoning bylaw?
I'm looking at it differently.
If that-
They're not expanding,
The-
they're
the
obliterating
previous
and
application-
they're obliterating and removing an existing footprint.
They are.
And then they're going to expand the existing
No.
footprint of the house.
If they expanded over here or here or here.
Yeah.
From what Charlie says, that would be permissible.
Yeah.
This is questionable.
Oh,
Right, it's moving.
okay,
Pink line of sea.
right.
So we
closer
need
to
to
the-
see where that says that.
But also,
But as long as it this,
Do you have a sense of the scale
no closer to.
that we're
the lake.
talking about here? I know I can find this
As
and
long
or
as
scale
this
it.
is no closer to the lake
But
than
just as
this.
far as how
they're not
far
expanding.
Can we
are
have
we
one,
expanding
one-
towards the
one
lake?
conversation at a time?
The existing,
Thank you.
the insulated structure is about 2 feet.
Feet, okay. In addition to that, no pun intended, the yellow line.
Yep.
That's deck area, that's also new,
Yeah.
correct?
That's been.
and it's
Okay.
covered. No, it's not, but it's impervious. Okay,
My interpretation of the zoning, yeah, is considered impervious.
correct.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. So I think what we're looking for here is section G1.
G1B.
Yeah. Which says, shall I read?
Yep.
A non-conforming structure may be enlarged, extended, reconstructed, expanded, modified, or relocated. I think you guys fit in that category someplace. Only with the conditional use approval of the DRB. The DRB must determine that the enlargement, extension, expansion, modification, or relocation does not increase the degree of nonconformity compensates for the loss of vegetation and so on. And meets all other applicable requirements of these regulations.
So does this increase the degree of nonconformity?
The application that you approved 2 years ago had a 16% coverage. They have in the revision of the footprint are now down to 14%. So they have in the interim reduced the percentage of coverage. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, that answers one possible one. Another question would be the statutes that is closer to the lake. You know, I haven't found that in statute yet, something that you mentioned. Is that written in the statutes or just talking about
I
coverage?
don't understand your question.
I think what you said earlier was that one of the things that would be non-conforming is anything that increases coverage closer to the lake. In other words, you could develop further away from the lake, but not closer to the lake from the existing structure.
Correct, which is what they're doing here.
Where is that in here?
We're looking for that in the zoning.
Are you looking at D, just where it has the distances from the lake, the lot coverage?
Yeah.
We started with We started at G.
Most of the language in the bylaw refers to vegetation. And it's focused on vegetation.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
It talks about cleared openings and lawns and so on. It talks about moving structures.
So the structure that was approved previously, and I understand this one's slightly smaller than what was approved. First question is, what was that in the same footprint that this one is in, or even closer to the lake?
It was a very similar footprint in the same proximity of the lake.
Okay,
It was taking the existing garage down and then building new and attaching it to
Mhm.
the house, very much like we are proposing to.
okay, but this expansion of 2 feet towards the lake plus a deck was part of that plan that had been approved.
I'd have to go back in my files to determine that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
Jason, we'd have to look at that with pretty exact
Oh,
numbers.
okay. So my question for Charlie, I guess, is if they had been approved for something and now they're asking to do something that does not make this conform any less to that permit that was granted, then does that kind of grandfather them just like a structure would? You know, rebuilding the structure?
I don't know, and I don't know whether that permit has expired or it's.
But even if it had, I wonder if it,
I think it may have passed by.
but even if it had, we did grant permit and
You did grant the conditional use. Now, that doesn't expire.
Mhm.
The actual zoning permit, which was issued as a result of the conditional use
Yeah.
approval, has expired.
right, but the conditional use doesn't expire. And that's what I'm wondering about. If,
Now they're asking to adjust that conditional use to a lesser rate.
There's something that is less
do you
non-conforming.
do you even have to ask that?
Yeah, but
If you get a permit to build something, if somebody comes in and says, I want to build something and it's, 1 foot too close to the lake and we decide it's okay in these circumstances. And then you come back and then you just go to build your house and decide, well, it's actually a foot smaller.
well, it depends.
They need
Jason,
to tell us.
Jason, the devil's in the details. Just a foot smaller, what does that mean? If we're looking at the lake shore, the edge of the water, or certain level, to the edge of wall. Okay, it might be a smaller structure, but the wall may have moved closer to the lake. That would be
True.
not acceptable.
That's true.
That's what we're trying to figure out, but we don't know that unless.
But
prior-
that's another question.
Yeah. No, I think it's the same question. You can't,
Okay.
you can't just look at whether it's small.
Well, I was kind of just asking a general question. If somebody said they were building 100 square foot house and then it shrank.
Yeah.
Do they need a different permit? Or
I think they do.
I think it depends on where it's situated on the lot. And
Shrinks.
I'm confused in this. Are we reevaluating a prior permit or are we
No.
issuing a new?
We're not issuing a permit.
Are we,
We're
are we
considering-
considering
Surely-
conditional use? Yeah,
You're reviewing this use application,
it's new. That is not the old one.
the new plan.
Yeah.
Not the old one.
Correct. I just want to separate because we keep doing things reference to what was approved before.
Right.
It doesn't
the
matter.
reason why I was asking that was, it sounds like there might be an issue. This being too close to the lake, and I was looking for ways that maybe, well, if we had already approved something and if that kind of meant that we had to continue to approve the same thing or the same thing.
I think there's two issues here, Jason.
Yeah.
One being the impervious surface percentage, which the board has substantial leeway to approve that up to 20%, which you did approve at 16 and now they're asking for 14. But the other issue that Caroline comes up with is the actual setback.
Yeah.
The feet setback and how that fits into what it is they're asking for and how does that fit into what the board needs?
Yeah.
My take on the setback is this. The existing structure, the current regulation is, so new construction, not pre-existing, someone developing, we had an application where someone was building a new house. And the rule now, the regulation now is that the house has to be 100 feet back from the lake. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what we have here is a pre-existing structure that's only 20 feet from the lake. Okay, so its non-conformance is that it's 20 feet from the lake. So if they build what they're planning to build here, and the new area that they're going to build, which is where the garage used to be, is going to be 2 feet closer to the lake than the garage was, or 5 feet closer, it still doesn't increase the non-conformance because the non-conformance is the 20 feet from the lake.
Right.
So what would increase the non-conformance is if they were going to expand the existing structure so that it was 19 feet from the lake.
So you're saying because the deck line doesn't pass
Exactly.
house line,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
the house line is the closest thing.
The house line is the non-conformance for the setback.
I think the whole structure's the non-conformance to the setback, and I think it's even more non-conformant if they add onto any portion of the structure that moves it closer to the lake.
Moves any portion of the structure.
And it moves a portion closer to the lake, it becomes
Oh,
more
no.
non-conformant.
I don't read it that way.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why we're the
Yeah.
truth of it.
Yeah, that's why they're 5.
And I will say the last design that got approved, the understanding was the way you're reading it
Mhm.
was the fact that we didn't move any closer to what the existing building already is.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask of a point here,
Mm.
because we will go into deliberative session, but I would like, we are putting so much emphasis on a 2 year ago permit and explanation and plan. I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I can't, right? We're over indexing from my perspective on what got approved 2 years ago and trying to figure out how this fits in or doesn't fit in with a prior approval.
Yeah.
Yet we have nothing to look at as a board.
I think that what was approved 2 years ago is completely irrelevant, and this is a new application, and we consider it on its merits.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
then
I
we
agree.
need to
Yeah.
stop. Oh, then we need to
Yeah,
stop.
stop
con-
referring to
Talking
what was
about
approved.
past.
I'm okay
Yeah,
with that,
yeah.
but if we're gonna consider it, I want to see it. If we're not gonna consider it as a board, I don't need to. see
Yeah,
it.
I don't think we need to consider it.
Okay.
They got the conditional approval for that. They took out a building permit for that. They never did the project. The building permit expired. Now they need
Starting over.
conditional approval for this project.
Yeah, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
I'll buy that. So doesn't matter what got approved 2 years ago. Doesn't matter whether
Sure,
this is,
and that-
and it doesn't matter if this is 2% smaller than last time. We're starting clean slate.
Yeah.
That's what I would think.
And I agree. I was just making the point that how the board interpreted the bylaws last time was the way you were seeing it. So that's the only reason I was bringing that up, Carolyn.
Okay.
I guess it seems like the language, if it was a setback
to any portion of the structure, it would specify it would use that language that indicates any portion of the structure. But the language specifically states the building setback, which is whatever the closest.
So I'm trying, I hear that.
Hmm.
What I need to understand, either from a separate reading of the bylaws letter among us or
Yep.
directly from you, is in my 10+ years on this board, I have never seen us approve an expansion of something that was on the lake, that was an existing non-conforming structure. You had to build within that structure. We've gone down and said, you see where the foundation of
Right.
this was? That's where the foundation of this has to go. And if we're building outside of that, it doesn't matter if it's smaller than last time. We've already established that. But what you're suggesting is that you're going to put something new in place that is bigger than what was in place last time. I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm saying I think we need clarification on what.
If we considered it otherwise, then we would have to say that we could, this whole structure close to the lake. That would be the principle, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
and
talking
it,
about.
and there would be no precedent. What we're saying is they could take this down. I'm sorry, we're using this as an example, but I'm not saying you're saying this. But they could take down the garage and they could build all the way up to the furthest blue
that's what
line
I'm
in
saying,
pink.
Now, wait a
Yeah.
second, though. Can they? Because we keep focusing on getting closer to the lake. But even the other side of the house is still within 100 feet of the lake.
Correct.
So
It's all.
you might not be
non-conforming.
able to even expand on the other side. Right?
Right, how large how much more out of
No,
it can
sorry, I
you
was looking.
make something? And from my perspective, once you build outside of the current non-conformance, you are making it more non-conforming.
More, yeah.
It's not about close or distance to the lake. It's already a non-conforming.
I'd like to direct your attention
To
to
G
section
1B.
3.8, which deals specifically with non-conforming uses and non-compliant structures.
Hang on a second, and let's get in.
3.8.
Page 30.
Did you want to address? Okay.
We can read it.
Huh?
36.
He asked if I wanted to say something. I think
Shoot.
we should read it, yeah.
So we're not dealing with a non-conforming use, we're dealing with a non-conforming structure. And it says it may be structurally enlarged, expanded, or moved upon approval of the zoning administrator, provided the enlargement, expansion, or relocation does not increase the degree of non-compliance. Now, since it's in the shoreline district, it appears before this committee.
Okay,
And I need give me the definition of increase the degree of non-compliance.
Tom just,
Tom gave us
Address
his
that.
interpretation of that. I'm
Well,
trying to understand.
I mean, if we say the degree of, that implies that there's not just one level of nonconformance, that there are various degrees of it, that it's a variable thing.
But if the nonconformance is the setback, to increase the degree of nonconformance, you would have to make the building closer to the lake than it is now. That's my position.
Yeah, or any portion thereof.
Yeah. I don't buy the any portion
Well,
there,
then how does the,
because
how do
it can be expanded.
okay, but yeah, sure, we could expand the
But
100
if
feet
the
either
whole, if
direction.
the whole house is not in conformance.
Okay, without being too nitpicking about
Yeah.
it, it's like we're in a law school
Yeah.
class here.
No, I mean,
Then how does the element of degree, the degrees fit in there?
no,
That's the problem that I'm having.
I think
The
the
degree of
I think that
nonconformity implies that it's not a black or white thing. It's not.
Right, well,
absolute.
I think the degree of nonconformance is if the rule is 100 feet and the house is 20 feet. The degree, it would increase the degree of nonconformance if
it's not a-
something that's new is closer than 20 feet. That's the way I read
That
it.
would be absolutely nonconforming. That's not a.
Well, the whole
nonconforming.
house is already
I know,
nonconforming.
and so
Right.
you can't increase the degree of its nonconformance. If there's an existing wall, I mean, this may not be how we settle this, but if the wall is 10 feet from the lake,
Yeah,
Okay, you can't move it closer. Okay,
Well, you can
You could move-
expand the building,
It's-
you can expand the building so
Sure,
that the
you could,
wall was
so-
4 feet.
other considerations aside,
Right.
you could, let's say, it's
Yeah, so if you have the
Just a second,
house.
Jason, hold on a second.
Yep.
But another portion of the house that moves closer, the objective here is to protect the lake. Protect the lake shore.
Mhm.
Yeah, so if you move another wall has a further setback closer to the lake, you're, at least in theory, affecting the lake shore. That's
So-
what the way I'm thinking
so
at the moment,
You guys,
convincible, but. yeah.
I think our board, I had to go back and read what they mean by non-conforming. Any pre-existing structure or part thereof which is not in compliance with the provisions of the regulations concerning density, setback, height, lot size, or other dimensional standard. So we know why this doesn't conform. Or which does not meet other applicable requirements of these regulations shall be deemed a non-conforming structure. The whole structure non-conforms, right?
Right.
Yeah,
It's closer.
Correct. May be allowed to continue indefinitely, but shall be subject to the following. So you can keep having it, but I mean, they're pretty clear, may undergo normal repair and maintenance, provided that such action does not increase the degree of noncompliance. See definition of degree of noncompliance in Article 7. I would like to hear what the definition of Article 7 is. I don't know what Article 7 is, but all of these points are may be restored or reconstructed after damage, as the way it sits, may be structurally enlarged, expanded, or moved upon approval of the zoning administrator, provided the enlargement, expansion, or relocation does not increase the degree of noncompliance.
Right. And
So
the house in non-compliance of, the house was already in non-compliance.
Yeah,
So we're not,
So what we have to determine, was it the size of the house, the position of the house, the height of the house, what was in non?
A non-compliance here
What
is
was,
the
what was the
setback.
non-compliance?
it's a setback, so that's the lake.
Yeah,
But
What's it say?
the legislature.
I understand the
they-
question.
When they came up with the statute, which enabled zoning, made provisions for non-conforming uses to continue on indefinitely.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, I don't-
then it also
I don't think
allowed the
that's-
boards to make certain provisions for expansion, so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
Required,
the existing non-conformance is that issue. I mean, that's.
Yeah.
That it
The
is.
goal of the connection just for is, so we have single floor living, so.
Mhm.
What you're saying though, we couldn't even build out the back of our house?
Back meaning defined
Like,
as what?
Can't move a wall.
You can't move any-
Possible, that's
Possible.
even more complicated.
That seems, because originally when we were, that was another thing, they were like, go back as long as you want, go out to the
But
side.
according to what you're saying,
That's-
that's not possible
But
either.
yours,
That-
sorry.
I don't
That's
think,
what we're
I mean,
trying
Yeah.
to decide.
we'll
That's
we're
not
likely to have 5 different opinions.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And we'll come up with a uniform decision.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, I would say if you're moving, the lake is what, to the west of you. Yeah. If you move north, I don't see that as an issue.
But that's
So we're
still
moving south.
building within.
So we're still within,
Certainly moving east is not an issue.
but it's still
moving-
within 100 feet.
So we're definitely
Moving,
still building.
moving east is not towards the lake. It's
No, it's
like away from
But
it.
still within 100 feet.
Increasing.
That's
Lakeshore.
Yeah.
That's true.
If
That's,
you're-
all these things will have.
Yeah, so if we move any wall in any way outward, northeast, south.
Outside of the
Any cardinal direction.
I guess I would
That may be
look at,
true.
look at east as not being an issue because the structure that you're adding on, just in this
Sure.
very narrow case, is itself not closer to the lake. So it doesn't increase the degree of nonconformity.
Well, and when you look at the definition of degree of
Yeah, oh, you found it?
noncompliance,
Okay.
the key language seems to be to the extent to which a structure encroaches upon or otherwise violates one or more dimensional standards of these regulations. Here, that would be the setback requirement, and the degree to which the existing structure violates it is that it's 100-foot setback and the property and the building is 20 feet from the lake. The extension of a structure which results in an additional encroachment of the non-complying feature element, including the expansion of the footprint of a structure within a building setback, would increase the degree of non-compliance. I don't know what that means.
I would like,
Article
Did you
7
buy
deals
Article
with subdivisions.
I found it, but I did not find the,
On
It's on
Article
page
3.
97.
Next up.
71 is Article 7.
So can I be clear that I think what we're trying to establish is the the addition that is not going any closer than the existing house, creating additional
Or
non-conformity?
additional encroachment.
Yeah, or is that the baseline, the front of the existing house, which is 20 feet from the water?
You can find it.
That is the question.
Yes.
but there's,
To me, I don't know if I can put this in.
there's like three questions, because there's one, where is the boundary that you can build beyond on the front towards the lake, right? And that's what you're just talking about.
Yeah.
Does the house establish that, or does the previous garage set that?
Correct.
Okay, that's one question. But then there's also, as Zach suggested, can they build anywhere around that, even on the backside, which would still be building within the 100-foot setback? So,
And my view would be probably a little different. The only part of the plan here that is questionable to me, and that doesn't mean that that's the way it goes, is the part in yellow that's right here.
the
That's
deck.
the only part. To me, building out this way, okay, but even if it's within 100 feet of the lake, that's not, to me, of issue.
But so
We
when,
will, we have to,
when you say this way, and that's
this way,
the pink that's extending not towards the deck and the lake, but extending lengthwise along the lake,
oh, that would, yeah. I meant to
Towards
include
the
that, yeah.
sideline.
Yeah,
that could also,
everything from this line in this direction.
right? But what about this direction?
This direction,
You don't think that could be a problem?
I don't think it is.
So based on what you were saying before, if the existing house is, I'm just gonna make up a number, 50 feet long, that is within 20 feet of the shoreline district, of the shore, 20 feet, okay? And then we had another 40 feet that was set back 10 feet further. But now you want to take that distance that was set back 10 feet further and extend that.
Longitudinally along the lake shore.
Okay, so you have a house. Let's
It's a
just,
question, I'm not sure what.
let's pretend it's just the house to simplify things. They want to make that house that's 20 feet from the lake and it's 50 feet long.
Yeah.
Now they want to make it 200 feet long.
Long meaning what? Meaning this direction?
Yes, I do. Wouldn't that extend the degree of nonconformity?
You know, it might,
I don't know the answer to that question. The way I read it,
Yeah, that's where-
And
what
that's what we
service
didn't
protects
do
that
that.
part?
We was.
I understand. I'm only blowing these numbers up
to make it-
to grasp the
Yeah.
concept.
Got it.
I think also just my question would be is the square footage of the deck and the 2 feet going over, that square footage is more important than back here, than back over here, because I mean, and that's the question, because this is all within Lakeshore.
Mhm.
So what makes this square footage more important than this square footage, or this square footage, or this square footage? I don't see, like, I guess that's more of a question directed to you guys, is just because it's closer, it's all within 100 feet. It all should be treated the same,
I
in
agree.
theory.
Which is.
I mean, that's a reasonable argument, you know? And I, I mean, I gave you a point of view, but it's just, I may change my mind within the next 5 minutes. That's why we have these debates.
Yeah.
To me, it's the intent of the statute
Sure.
had to do with encroachment on the lake shore. So to me, even because the house exists and it's not conforming no matter where you are in the house, I would tend to look at it the way I'm thinking right now. Does it further encroach on Lakeshore? So if you build towards the Shore Road, to me, that's not an issue. Because the whole house is between you and Shore Road already. And if you build closer to Shore Road, presuming you have the setback from Shore Road, that, that isn't squirrely, it's not that big an issue. But it's the structure that moves a part of the plan that moves part of the structure closer to the lake that has me. Now, what Jason mentioned, if you go further in the other direction without getting closer, does that, what is the, I got to think that through. I have no idea.
Well, I mean, it based on the last, and I know we're not bringing up the last things we did,
Yeah.
but rain mitigation, water mitigation, it was very much water, water, water.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to give the chance to the water to get absorbed as it comes down the hill, as it comes down Greaves Hill, across Route 12, across Camp Road. We have to give as much time as we can to get absorbed back into. So technically, building closer to Camp Road might actually
Yeah, I'm-
reduce its ability
Yeah,
to get absorbed.
but I did say everything else considered.
Sure, yeah.
I don't, I'm not saying that that would be A-okay, just that's less of an issue.
Yeah.
If Camp Road were like 300 feet away, right? I'm not considering how close the building is to Camp Road or water drainage or anything like that. I'm just talking about the lake shore because that's to me the intent of the setback of the lake. But it's not going to be conforming either way, but
I'll 100% read and dig in more and listen to all of my fellow board members. I'm just gonna tell you, for as long as I've been here, every project that has happened on the lake, they want to tear it down and rebuild it, no problem. But you must rebuild within the footprint that the original non-conforming structure occupied. Else, if we had this feeling that you can go as far, I'm just going to use left and right, in any three directions except toward the lake, you can do whatever you want to. That has just never been the opinion that we have had as a board, that you can build as large a structure as long as it's under the, the coverage limits that you want, regardless of what was there before. So, or we wouldn't have had garages, where people are taking down the old, and we go out and look and say, where is the original footprint of this building? You can build up. If it was 1 story, go 2 story, as long as you're not taller than the height restriction that's there, but you can't expand beyond it. I think from my perspective, from my seat, the only thing, and it doesn't worry me, I'm just seeking to understand, is the pink, that there's a reasonable amount of color pink here that extends beyond the house and the garage. And I don't know what percent of the total pink that is, but there's a reasonable percentage that is beyond the dotted line of the existing garage. It's not impervious. It's not, there's porch connecting or a breezeway connecting or these things connecting. They've totally come before us before, right? We just want to
That
connect.
pink is over here, and that's.
Yeah, that's the connector there.
That's a
So,
connect-
and then on one side, it's right on the line. It seems like the largest extension is lengthwise along the lake to the south.
Then my recommendation, just to answer that question, is when I look at this, I see pink as building and I see yellow as porch, patio, impervious. But there's a section of pink here that is.
That exists today. Yeah, that's.
That exists today is blue.
No, exists
No,
today.
the-
There's a
this-
huge, the
this
majority of that
pink
pink
is-
already exists.
This
dotted-
right
I'm
here
sorry.
all
The
exists.
dotted
So
square is the
it's
garage.
This.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I hate reading market out of pencil.
Right, but the pink with the dotted, that's the garage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Dotted line, everything beyond the dotted line
It's new.
is new.
Yeah.
new,
And then yellow, which is new. So it's actually currently connected.
There's half of the pink, the little square here is connected.
there's a porch.
Okay, that's where it's,
I know the garage is still there. Has this been staked out at all? If we were to go look at it.
Can we-
it could
this-
be obvious.
No, but it can be.
I don't know if you're gonna.
Can I
show
illustrate
us, yeah,
something?
show us what's new.
Okay, so currently this area of pink right here is their covered porch entry. Okay, their door to their house is right here, and this is currently a covered porch entry.
Okay.
This dashed line is the existing garage.
Yep.
So there's about 3 feet here that separates the house and garage, and this is already this is all paved through here,
Oh,
Yeah.
right? So this is already
and
paved.
you're pointing all the way up to that yellow up there, that deck
Correct.
area?
There's pavement here, and then I don't know exactly how it
Oh.
goes, but something like that. Right, so this is all already impervious surface. And then this dash line is the existing garage, right? So really what we're talking about is this pink area here and this yellow area here. Now.
What about this? And that, this as well.
Sure. Going back to Carolyn's comments earlier,
Mm.
the unique situation about the D'Amata's property is the size of it. And that's where the percentage of impervious surface comes into
Mhm,
play.
mhm.
Because most properties on Camp Road are
Don't have-
postage stamps.
Right.
They have a double lot.
Right.
So that's why we're factoring in the percentage of impervious surface. And I've already done rain mitigation to the property. Which was, again, I don't want to go back to it, but it was. Or mitigation with the expectation that this.
So the mitigation is not. I guess. If this is a truth. I would think that it has to. Tie together with the rate mitigation, does it need to be reassessed? Just to make sure that design would support its new footprint. You follow my question?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it would, we could confirm, but I think it, because it's less impervious surface.
Oh, and it's a
all-
smaller
the-
structure.
The rain mitigation was already
Okay.
made to cover
I-
16, so I
thank
think
you.
it being 14, it would still cover it.
I would tend to agree. I
Yeah,
forgot that it's
that's
small.
why,
That's good.
yeah.
Regarding coverage, I'm sort of reminded of something I saw in one of the World Cup games. They're all sort of like confused together. Just because you scored a goal doesn't mean you don't get a red card 5 minutes later. So the degree of them,
You're not gonna give us a red card, are you?
Yeah.
But no, I'm just saying, just, I mean,
Donald Trump right now.
one,
We'll have that fixed in no time.
well, one
That's a good-
positive improvement, if you will, doesn't cancel out the other non-conforming.
Yeah.
So
I thought I'd lighten
the
things
no.
up a little bit with it.
side yard setbacks and the front yard setbacks are not a problem. It's only the side facing the lake.
In my opinion, yeah, but I don't think
The
I don't think
setback
that's,
are the
I
problem.
think that's,
But building some, like, if they were only talking to add this. Add to the side or the back, or the front, the opposite the lake, we'd still be having this conversation. Because they are still an issue, because you're,
Building beyond
if,
the existing.
if what you're saying is that an addition that goes to the east, away from the lake, is not an issue, but it's
Well, it's still.
to the,
within
to the
100
west and conceivably north and south. And, you're right, there's to the east, everything else put aside for the moment, because there may be other issues. That, to me, doesn't seem like an issue.
When you said before, Charlie, what was approved before that stays approved?
The use, the conditional use, the expansion of the non-conforming building. But the permit itself expires after 2 years.
So the use meaning like it's still a home, or it's a garage, like what does that
still
mean?
not- we're not
I was just
gonna-
wondering what that meant.
We're not gonna make you,
No.
force you into making it a daycare center or something.
Sorry, guys.
But I don't think that earlier plan went any closer to the lake than the garage.
I'd have to remember which we had, we did
doesn't
so
matter.
many versions, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter, that's fine. I just was wondering what was still approved. You had said like one thing was still approved, and one thing wasn't.
There was, what we were encouraged to do with the last plan was
So
expand
all out the
further
side
north.
yard, like.
Mhm.
go
But
this
that's a
way, but
brand new
still-
structure. That was a brand new structure within the
Yeah.
lake shore.
I mean, coming back in here, the board gets another bite at the
Oh,
apple.
yeah. No, I'm just saying.
So
Yeah, no, I get it.
If we were consistent with all of our decisions in the past,
That's
the whole town
issues.
would rise up against us.
yeah,
Because there are things that have been done in the past that are just,
I just have
Don't make a lot of
one question, and maybe it does not pertain to this.
Yeah.
But I did attend a meeting a few months ago with a property 2 doors. It's next door Blair's place, and then the new place that's going up.
Yeah.
The folks from Houston that are building.
yeah,
They're building the majority of their home outside of Lake Shore, but they did ask, and I believe that you guys approved, they are now going, did that get pulled out?
they asked for.
They asked for a
11-foot
variance.
And that was denied.
It was
So they-
Oh, okay, because when I
Build the house
was
back.
here was, okay, So that
They're
was
back to
denied.
100 feet.
Okay, no, I'm just asking.
Yeah.
How that worked, because that was, we were here and it seemed like it was like pretty smooth.
58 must be, that addition they put on the side must be outside of the 100 feet. They built 58 camps, the Rulos, old Rulos, where they just built that new kitchen off the
Oh,
side.
yeah.
That was on the footprint of an existing deck.
If the non-conformance,
So we could actually, increase the size of our
Yeah.
house. We could tear down our deck and actually we could build our house closer to the lake.
Then if it's the existing.
if the non-conformance is that you're within 100 feet of the lake. We don't want buildings within 100 feet of the lake. We don't want new building within 100 feet of the lake. We don't want more building within 100 feet of the lake.
Sure.
So I'm thinking through Tom's discussion of, are you more non-compliant? To me, more building within 100 feet of the lake is more non-compliant. We do not want building that. I mean, I have to think back, why do we have 100-foot barrier, right? Why do all these properties have to come to us at all? It can't just, go to the zoning administrator and say, this is what I want to do. And the reason this comes is because it's within 100 feet of the lake. And if the point of the conformance is to keep the population in the building where it is and not have it continue to expand, then you limit to what has been, you can't use this term grandfathered in anymore, but what exists, the pre-existing
Grandparenting.
whatever. You right?
Just-
So I sit here and ask myself, if we allow houses to say, oh, you know what, you're already within 100 feet, just go for it. Left and right and back toward Camp Road, but not toward the lake. No, they already have a structure that is in the wrong place. And now they're asking, can we make it bigger? Can we make it
That's
even
right.
bigger in a place? And my gut reaction is, why would we say you're already non-conforming, but just go larger? Because since you're already non-conforming, I think that's why our predecessors have said, just don't make it work. Don't build bigger, but build within what you got.
One problem with that, Carolyn,
I'm just saying.
One
Yeah.
slight
the
modification.
problem with that is that
Hold
the
on a second.
bylaws do say that it can be enlarged.
Yeah.
As long
Oh.
as it doesn't increase its non-conformity.
But what's the?
Let me, just a slight difference in understanding
Yeah.
that you have to
Yeah.
understand. It's not we that are making up these rules. Okay, we are given town statutes, bylaws, and our job is to enforce them. Our job is not to change them. We kind of do what we're told to do, and we're given this big book full of laws to mostly understand. Some cases are a little vague, and our job is to try to interpret them and apply them to the cases that come before us. So, that's all I wanted to say. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I think I said what I.
Right, and going back, like the bylaws say we can increase. However, the question is, do you consider us expanding the footprint, but
Conforming use shall not be pre-established or continued following abandonment. So they're even saying, hey, if you have a non-conforming use, once it's discontinued, you can't add it back in.
Well, this is a non-conforming
I'm just
structure.
saying, I'm
Non-conforming
trying,
use.
guys, we could, okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying
Words are being
to understand how they use the word. How are they using non-conforming? What does non-conforming mean? Because I think that's what we're all discussing is what is the definition of non-conforming?
But
Go ahead, yeah.
I think non-conforming in the bylaws is in the context of the design constraints that they're also including. Because the design constraints are what allow us to accommodate different situations. And so there are two pertinent design constraints here. One, the huge one is the impervious surface. the second one is the building setback, that I think there's some gray area there. What is considered the building setback? In this case, it's 20 feet, 10 inches to the closest point. If memory serves me correct, it's, and I've been reading a lot of bylaws for a lot of different municipalities lately, so excuse me, but I could get this wrong. But,
Condolences.
does it mention where that point, like what that point is somewhere in the?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Well, what the building setback is identified by? Because it just seems like the, the bylaws. Yeah, it just seems like the building setback would, if it was intended to be, identified by any portion of the building, it would specifically say that. It seemed, but just, I could be. That any portion.
Not clear. It's not clear.
It would be useful if we had a plan that showed us what was, where the concrete was. And so on, that's already covered.
It is on here because
Well, it's, I mean, it's in a color, but it's not differentiated from.
This is, yeah, there's little, you have to go.
We're trying to show everything at once.
Yeah.
So we can,
Pull out the concrete.
just.
I mean, I think what I'm getting at, which is not a, just take this as my own ramblings, please. There may be a way of changing it so that, you know, that it's more easy for us to do. But it's going to be difficult to do unless we have some of those questions answered. So, one option is to sort of table it for a month. And get back to some more. Those factors, which this is just me, so it may not make any difference. Just an idea.
Can you be clear what those factors?
Well, I'd like to know where the concrete is. To me, it's not an issue building over the concrete because the ground is already covered. Okay.
And
Concrete
using the asphalt.
pavement?
Yeah, asphalt or concrete, whatever the covering is, right?
Okay.
Right. It's a difference if you have a patio that's just wood sticking out and there's ground underneath and you decide to rip off the deck, move the wall out to where the edge of the deck was, you know, and build a foundation. That's a substantially different kind of a project. That doesn't mean everybody else is going to agree with that.
Yeah, I agree that it seems different, but as
Maybe it
it's
doesn't.
been pointed out, both are considered. What's the word when, you know, the impermeable,
Yeah.
Well, that's why I say it may not,
and
you know, I mean,
we have to
not,
consider both of them as being, you know. The structure.
There is a figure on here, of the existing lot. So this. We've got some Jaguar. 78 square feet. And the proposed lot coverage below that helps.
well, what do? We could talk about this for the next time.
I think we, anyone else?
Is there any additional?
Paul, did you want to ask about this? Because if not, I will.
Okay,
I think the only thing I would just say, sorry, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see.
no,
Blocked.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
There's a notation calling it phase one. And could you describe that represents, or is there a phase two come?
Because we're taking down the existing garage, there's a possibility of, oh, sorry, no, phase two is there's 2 bedrooms on the main floor of this house that would then become 1 bedroom.
Oh.
Because they're petite bedrooms. And then, the main living room, we'd like to create a dormer in there, to have some taller glass to capture the mountain view. Because right now from the living room, you can't see the top of the mountain unless you're standing at the door.
But we can't remove our bedroom until the other bedroom's built.
Correct.
It's
Yeah.
my space too.
We slept in the living room not too long ago.
Yeah,
I'd rather not do that again.
We have a big tent that we could lend.
Oh, shit.
Thank you. Pretty satisfied.
Yeah.
No, the only thing I was gonna say, and I'm just saying this as a Lake Elmore resident and someone who lives on the lake, is that I think one of the considerations that I'd like you guys to think about for homes on the lake that would like to renovate as they fall down or as they do whatever. If people aren't allowed to move walls in any direction, now granted, okay, I'll give you going closer to the lake, fair. But what we're talking about is northeast, southwest. We're talking about, sorry, in this particular case on Camp Road, we're talking about south, north, and east.
Mhm.
You're only going to give people one direction to build up, and they're all going to go up.
Yeah.
And we have houses that are just aesthetically, maybe not my taste, maybe not everybody's taste, but but that is what you'd be pushing people towards.
Greg,
Let
one
me-
thing
let-
to bring
hold
to
on.
your attention
The-
is this board does not make the rules.
I'm just,
And I
Yeah,
think your
setting a precedent.
your comments are well spoken to go to the planning commission because they're gonna be updating these rules here in the next year.
Yeah.
So that would be.
I mean,
I was going to say exactly the same thing. I mean, I would say that uniformly, the entire board is sympathetic to the issues, but our hands are to some extent tied. We have laws that we have to conform to. We can't just arbitrarily decide, that it's more fair to do it one way or the other. We've got to comply with the statutes as they're written.
For sure, yeah.
As they're interpreted though. and
Right.
there's clearly
I've heard the word
different
interpreted
interpretations,
a dozen
Yeah,
times today.
so-
You know that there's some difference of opinion and we'll settle it in some way. But the larger question, okay, has to do with the issues that you've raised. And I think you should bring them to the planning commission and eventually the select board and, but we can't change that. We can't decide.
Yeah, I agree, even if this is allowed to go forward just as presented. If that is the case, that is a very valid concern and, as a Lakeshore resident, I agree, you should bring this to the planning commission so that they can consider that, because if this one's allowed to go forward, but all the other houses go up 12 feet, it's unsightly and,
And this board, what we decide, I promise every homeowner around the lake is going to look and they're going to say, I can expand and come to the board and ask for an expansion in every direction except toward the lake, even if I'm non-conforming. And I think the board has to understand and look, if that's the it's not even it is a bit of interpretation, but every one of these decisions has a ramification on it's not just about this one. Are we going to make the exact same decision with every single permit that comes in? Because that is the only right way to do it. It wouldn't make sense for us to say, yeah, this totally makes sense. But it doesn't make sense for the next person who wants to come in and build 2 feet further in one direction or another. That's all.
Nor can we say if you had an identical house next door, right? To say, it's okay for you guys to do it, and the next year your neighbor comes in and we say, well, we did it once, but we don't want to continue doing this because it's going to ruin we can't do that.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. The good news is not many lots are as big as ours, so they hit the impervious surface way before they hit the lake.
So that's our grandfathering well beyond.
Right, it's not a red developer, it's like,
I can play again tomorrow. That's all I ask.
it's hard for me to watch those games. I used to play high school. I even had a season of semi-pro. And every time I see them kick the ball, my legs are twitching, but has no effect.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, okay, thank you.
So is your ask that we come back with?
Well, it was just an idea. The way, that's kind of up to you. If you say, well, we're gonna give you some more information, then we table it.
So the hearing will close and we will stop hearing testimony.
Okay,
If you would like to offer additional testimony and not have us move into deliberative session and make a decision based on the information that we have in hand, you could ask us to table and we will table and keep it hearing open until a date certain so that it gives you the opportunity to bring more. The board could say, we want more. We're not going to make a decision. We're going to wait and collect more information. Or we can close the hearing and move into deliberative. So I guess the question is,
to us, would we like
Do
you
you-
to keep it open?
if you have more that you want to bring to us, great. If you don't, and you feel like you've given your testimony and everybody else has, that's good for us to know too.
The fly in the ointment on this is that once the hearing closes, we have a time limit. We have to issue a decision within a certain number of days,
45 days.
45 days. If we're unhappy with what we've got, then the decision may be less likely to be to your liking.
Or we may
Or
exit.
it may be the same either way.
We may exit deliberative and say, we want to ask you for something more.
So it could go either
That's a
way.
possibility too.
Which is why I,
Yeah, yeah.
why I raised it.
What I'm puzzled with is if we table it, what additional information am I bringing you next time?
No, it's your.
A more visible view of the concrete, is
It
that
doesn't matter.
helpful? Like, 'cause
We-
it-
we ask you for
It might be to me, but I could be out, I may change my mind as to whether that's germane, or I may be completely outvoted. So it was, that's why I said it the way I did. Just a random,
I have a view too.
yeah.
Well, no, 5 of us don't have to agree, but the majority of us have
Have
to.
to- have to pers-
Exactly.
I make it.
Yes.
And just be clear, the next time we have a DRB meeting, it may not be the same 5 people.
No, it will.
Oh, yeah,
Should
we're
be.
the 5
Always
people.
the same 5. It's how many come to that meeting.
Well, but
It's always the
We
same.
try all to come.
Right.
we do have at least one alternate. But,
Okay.
but as far as this decision, I believe it has to be
It will
a
be. us.
form of these.
Yeah, we all have multi-year terms and
Okay.
yeah, we're,
Right.
most of us are here every month.
Okay. I just asked that because this has really come down to the interpretation of the bylaws. And each of your interpretation of that bylaws. Because I already know that your interpretation is completely different.
But we haven't been in. You get the benefit of hearing us have open discussion.
Yeah.
You don't get the benefit of when you leave and we go into a closed session, we will each talk to each other and we'll have a deliberative session and we'll argue it right down and we'll grab our own. We will work that way in emerging from that discussion among all of us.
Yep.
Will be a decision.
Right.
It doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that what we've expressed freely is the way we're going to.
Ultimately decide.
And,
Right.
and I would say just off the top of my head, in the last year, I can remember maybe 2 decisions that weren't unanimous,
With what?
were not unanimous.
That.
Yeah. So we
We
tend to coalesce around a certain point of view and, and so on.
And this isn't can I put a garage on my, this isn't, 9 out of 10 of the things that come before us are not terribly complex. They're right.
Right.
Some things are pretty straight.
Yeah.
Right.
I've been in here before.
We have to.
I thought I recognized. And we also have some controversies.
And then
over
we
just
have some that
we
don't
can't,
really-
we can't even, it's not in our power to decide.
So it sounds like we're tabling it and come back
Well,
to.
I mean, it may come that, I personally would like to see a few other things, but
Sure.
that doesn't mean that that's going to be dispositive to everybody else. Everybody else may say that's irrelevant. I don't even know why you're asking this, Mike.
I think the board makes the decision on whether we're gonna move to a date certain or we're gonna close the hearing.
They can withdraw it and then resubmit it. And they're,
Oh, you're saying you could say you want more information after you deliberate.
Good, but we're getting into these complicated, in general, you give your testimony.
Yeah.
Close the hearing, we decide.
I guess I'm confused. I thought you just explained to them that if
And
they
if
wanted.
they want to bring more after the hearing,
Right.
if they want to bring more.
But what could we bring?
Well,
We
that's
can't, we
just
can't
the
move.
additional-
that's one thing. I'm not sure that everybody agrees with me that it's germane. So I'm not sure that, you would,
Well, you've noted it on there, right? Right, just now? You just noted on
you
there?
noted it. Yeah, I saw what you.
Okay, you can also go take a drive by.
The August meeting is August 4th.
So just one more question. The only thing, I'm trying to absorb all of this, but would the one thing that might have a chance basically be that the yellow deck that we all see is butted right up against the existing garage where it's not any closer to the lake? Is that worth us spending, giving Ray and Matt more money to redraw that might have a chance of getting approved?
So you're asking about
to just move it up the hill?
Is it, yeah,
So it's
Yeah.
not, so that.
Like, just so it's not in whatever the word that we don't really understand the definition of.
well, we then have to move our existing structure because we need them to connect and.
Well, we'd figure that out.
You know,
Ray and Matt are incredibly talented.
it might not. It might be that you don't do anything and the board says, okay, you can, we've resolved the thing about expansion of the building in a, according to some interpretations, non-conforming way, but that's to the east. That's not, that issue goes away and we approve it, but only if you go up to this line, that you don't do that deck. So we may just say that's the way that.
I'm just asking, because I mean, that's,
The board only has three things that they can do with this application. They can either approve it, deny it, or approve it with conditions.
Okay.
So a possible condition might be that it comes up to that line. Move it up to
The rain garden I know we're not, but the last time the rain garden was a like we had to install the
Right,
rain garden.
right, which
which
you've
we-
done.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I just
So,
playing it out.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we will decide it that way. It's just, we have the
But that's
option
the three options.
of making changes that we think make it conforming. To make conforming to non-conforming. Something. Okay, anything else? Jason?
I don't have further questions.
You asked about a stakeout, having some
When we get the FBI's coming.
physical representation of that. I don't know anything about the topography. I don't know anything about.
Do you want to do site visit?
closing the hearing.
Want to do a site visit?
I say this.
Okay, so
Yes, mention it.
we-
Or we close.
what?
We haven't closed it off yet. There's another comment.
He'll bang his gavel.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
I don't frequent these, so.
Okay,
I'm kidding, you didn't know gavel.
We do have one.
You do?
Yeah, Chris has it.
so, excuse me, so what we were talking about was possible site visit. Become familiar with what it is and what the proposal would be. And I think it's a little easier for my colleagues perhaps get their arms around it. Okay,
Think it out, that's right.
yeah, in this way,
Yeah, we can do that.
okay.
If we're gonna do a site visit, we all need to go at the same time.
We all need to go at the same time.
It's easier if you go individually, because then we don't have the
Warning.
The what?
I'm not going back to have somebody say they're taking this DRB to environmental court because we went individually on a site visit. I've already been on that road yet. So I'm not the chairman, but I think so. Our lawyer,
If you're gonna have
the
a site
town,
visit, we
the
need.
town
more.
lawyer advised that if we're gonna have a site visit, we have the site visit and we all go. That was the lawyer's guidance,
I think so.
which is
Great.
We shall plan a site visit that will change the timing of it,
Okay,
because that also has to be warned.
Yep.
Which is certain, we have to publish it and say that, give people the notice that we're having a meeting, because that's what constitutes a meeting.
And does that mean we're not going to be meeting about this on August 4th?
In terms of timing.
The reason I ask is because I will not be at the August 4th meeting.
So we enter deliberative session and we can exit deliberative session at any time. It doesn't have to be at the same time that we have a meeting. We will end this hearing, enter deliberative session as part of our 45-day window. We can have a site visit and deliberate on,
Does a site visit that takes place during and as part of our deliberative session need to be warned?
that is a great question.
I don't think so.
Or is it considered a working session?
That's
Could be
intriguing.
considered a working.
That's
could
why
be
they pay me
considered
the
a work-
big bucks.
it is.
Okay,
Why they pay our lawyers.
is it gavel?
this is a field trip right
Right.
now. Okay.
You guys want to come down?
Yeah, certainly could. It's a nice night too. Good day.
I mean, this all comes,
Everybody on the boat.
this all comes down to, you got beer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, that's not.
Don't worry.
We're gonna delete that from
Yeah.
this.
Please
We
delete
know
that.
that.
Yeah, that would be tough.
I'm muzzled all the time, that's. Okay,
So site
I
visit,
think
you'll let us know when you can do it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll decide if it needs to be warned.
So do we need
Yes.
someone to move us into deliberative session?
Oh,
No, we have another item.
We need to
Oh,
end
that's
the
right.
hearing.
End this hearing. Okay.
So are you closing this here?
I think I am.
7:14.
Thank you all for coming.
I work from home, so.
I mean, I'd like to be there, obviously, so.
Yeah.
Can they?
They're not gonna make any deliberations at the site, they're just gonna go and. look.
And we need to have, you guys have time to, you guys mark it?
If I can do it tomorrow.
Mark it,
Okay,
answer
yeah.
That's a
questions.
non-issue.
Okay, yeah,
Okay, so that'll be done really.
yeah.
Great.
Are we good?
Cool.
Okay,
Thank you all.
I apologize
Thank
to
you for
whoever
your
was
time.
first on that
Yeah.
agenda.
That's Jason, so don't worry about it.
Okay, because we just
Kind of
took up all your time.
It's all the rest of us.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that was interesting.
Oh, the.
All right. So are we moving forward?
So.
If I'm recusing, do I have to sit over there? I think I do.
You're
Yeah.
busy for Mr.
I'm recusing, yes.
That's right, he's the.
You don't have to sit over there. You just
Okay.
can't say anything.
Okay,
Well,
I will,
say something as an interested party,
I will go
You
sit.
know what? Say something as an interesting.
and that's what I intend to do.
Well, goes half.
Zachary.
Back? No.
Oh,
Matt,
the other guy?
Matt,
Timeless.
Matt,
I need this for the minute.
This one. Sort of.
Yeah.
All right, let's give it a few minutes. Law school is not supposed to run on the side of 5 students. Only 4 signed up. Signed up as an observer. That puts it over the line.
That's
And now I've only got 3 showing up, so it's like, it doesn't take much time. They get paid the same amount. This live. Shows. Did you ever take a? We never took.
No, I never
Nobody,
did.
nobody does. You don't need it to pass the bars.
So you don't got those 3, like the 3 hats.
But you know,
I bought for the base of it.
of the treehouse?
Yeah.
You want to talk about that here?
No, I just wanted the.
Treehouse, does the treehouse need a permit?
Yeah.
Would think, depending on
It's up it's up in
magnitude.
the air, you know,
And then you might want to talk to your insurance company
but for the,
for a treehouse.
oh, listen, with my dogs, I don't want to talk to my insurance company.
They saw one on our property
Cut me off.
that we built for our kids 30 years ago and it was falling down and they said, you can't have a treehouse, and they canceled our insurance.
Really?
We said, well, we'll take it down. They said, we don't care. Well, canceled.
Wow.
Wow.
Even when you said you'd remove it.
Yeah, I mean, that took one finger. It was 30 years old. My kid built it, so they didn't care. Anyway,
Okay.
the bird, interesting. Yeah,
For a big bird, yeah. Condor. Okay,
We're gonna open then the next
yeah,
hearing. Mike?
we're open,
Okay.
order.
And the board members for this hearing are.
Three of us.
Just the 3.
There are only 3 of us.
to get us started.
Yeah. Yep, just give me 1 second.
Set the stage as to what we're doing.
Okay. So for this hearing. Application Z 2604. Owner, Michael Fitz, applicant Jason Tully. Location 345 Hayford Road. A 48.6 acre parcel in the zoning district rural east. The request is a variance to allow previously permitted home occupation to be conducted by someone who is not an on-site resident. No change of operations, construction, clearing, lighting on site wholesale or on-site retail sales proposed. I have to read that again. The request is a variance to allow previously permitted home occupation to be conducted by someone who is not an on-site resident.
Like a home invasion.
The criteria is variances section 4.5A home occupations. Board did not vote. The hearing two because two members recused themselves. Okay. So we tabled this one to this meeting because we did not have a quorum of non-recused board members. So we have a quorum tonight and can hear this particular request. Anything else I need to add?
No, we're gonna be
No,
reviewing under section 8.4 of the zoning word. To variances. 8.4B,
3.4, you said?
8.5, page 88.
Variances.
In order for the board to make a decision on this, we have to review the 5 criteria for variances. And Jason will provide information on each of the 5.
Before we get to that, can somebody explain to me what is going on here?
Yeah, so I think before, so,
Jason will present.
so if you could present, Jason, to us what you're asking for a variance for, then we'll have to make sure that and the way I understand variances, right? It has to absolutely map to all 5.
Mhm.
All
Yeah.
5 have to be met for us to issue a variance. So,
Okay,
with,
so you want to know what the project is?
Yep.
Okay, so unlike most people that come before you, I'm not building anything. Except, well, I'm not asking for a permit to build anything. I'm asking for a permit to continue my business. So, more than 20 years ago, Wick Hart, had a cabinet shop on Hayford Road, and he was operating under the home occupation. And he had employees, of which I was one. And over the years, the employees drifted or passed away. Wick sold the property, moved away, and I'm remaining. And I continue to rent the property, rent building that I build cabinets in. That's what I do for the business. That's what has always happened in that building. That's what it was built for. And that's all I continue to do with it. I don't plan to, and I think as Charlie wrote there, I don't
It's a
plan-
workshop.
workshop. I don't plan to expand it. I don't plan to change anything about the lighting, the building, or anything else.
when Whit started the workshop there, he lived there. That was his home.
That's correct. So that's why it was as a
Home
home
base.
occupation.
Because he lived there and he built the
That's-
workshop there.
That's correct.
You were an employee. Whit sold the property.
That's
Who
correct.
did he sell the property?
Mike Fritz, that's the owner.
Okay, got it.
Mike was at the last meeting. He can't be here. He said he might be on Zoom. I'm not sure if he's there, but
Okay.
he couldn't be.
And since then, you continue.
Yeah, for a minute, Tom, are you recusing yourself from this?
I
You
am.
should not be sitting at the table.
Oh, all right, I'll be happy. I asked that a moment ago and I was told I could sit at the table. I'll be happy not to sit at the table. I thought that was correct.
You don't contribute. You're just-
So, I've talked to all the neighbors that I can get a hold of and asked if they have any concerns about me operating there now or over the years, and everyone has told me, no, they have no concerns with me operating there. And I've tried to do everything to reduce any possible concerns, such as limiting traffic is the big one, is trying to have minimized deliveries, things like that. And I would say there's a lot less traffic than there was at any point in the past, especially when we had multiple employees, so you had a lot more deliveries. We were coming and going a lot more, so there's a lot less going on now there than there ever was, and I've never had a complaint from any of the neighbors.
But Mike Fritz doesn't own the business.
That's correct.
Mike Fritz owns the property.
That's correct.
You own, who, I don't know.
That's correct.
You own the business.
Yes.
Well, the property has a
Um,
home on it.
But just hold on.
Okay,
Okay.
I was just, I mean, yes, Mike owns the property.
That was the only question.
Yeah, I figured we'd get to ask questions. I'm just trying to understand what's going on. Because a home-based business is usually the owner of the home has a business,
That's right.
right? If I'm just
That's
thinking about my
right.
own, because I am a home-based business, right?
That's right.
And the
and-
business operates out of my home.
That's right. And because this takes up a lot of space to build cabinets, I can't do it in my house. I'd have to build a large building to do it, or a reasonable sized building. And I had plans to do that. But since all my tools were in this building and it was already being used as a workshop, I continue to use it as a workshop. So it would cause a huge hardship to have to leave and go build another building a couple of miles away and vacate this one, which can't be used for anything else. It's not like somebody could go live in it.
Hmm.
Does the state of Vermont require you to have a business license?
I have a business license.
Right. And the
I have
business
no-
license address of that business operation is the home address.
It doesn't, I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure on the application, it wanted to know like my physical address is on that license.
Can I say something?
I think so, yeah. So.
Yeah,
Okay, no, I think-
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so the home has a address of 492 Hayford Road.
We could pass those maps out. People can see where the different
The workshop
buildings are.
has a separate address of.
Thank you.
Which, why do you think that's relevant?
So somebody said something about the home. Yeah. So the only relationship between the home and the workshop is that the person that bought the home who owns the property on which the workshop is located.
And while there are two addresses, it has not been subdivided. It's one
Right.
property.
How do you have two addresses?
I think it's
on
well,
one
I-
property?
for 911 purposes.
Yeah, if you have a property that's this big and you cut a driveway, hundreds of yards from the other one, for 911, they put an address on that driveway. I don't get mail delivery there or anything like that. But I do have a 911 address. So there's different ways that I could be permitted to to do business like this. Home occupation is one of them. Any of them you might find issues with, but this is the one that all the neighbors agreed is the best route forward. And it would allow me to continue to operate my business. And yeah, and the only issue with it is that I don't live there. All the other things about operating a home business, I am in compliance with.
And this has come up because,
This has come up because basically it's pretty obvious to people around that I operate this business and I'm not in compliance because I don't live there.
Got it.
So it came to my attention that maybe I should do something.
It is, that's which sort of begs the question, how did it come to your attention?
Probably not for me.
Well,
You think? Yeah, unless.
So,
somebody
so
said
if the
it was
town,
compliance.
well, if the town zoning administrator would say that you need to have a permit and this is how you
That would be,
operate.
yeah, that would be.
Or
reasonable.
if any resident said, I don't believe that they have a permit to operate that way and it
Yeah,
got
but
looked at.
that's what I'm asking, yeah, yeah. I think it's a reasonable question. Was it, let me rephrase it so it's maybe more palatable. Did any of the other, the adjoining properties, anybody complain about it or?
no one has ever complained. No one has ever complained about me operating there.
No, but
Okay.
they complain about not having a permit.
Again, I wouldn't use the word complain.
How would you describe it?
I think
that-
the
that
concern
they
is with
pointed
the
it out.
succession plan as to what happens when Jason moves out. Will the business continue or will it sunset?
Well, that was a separate issue. In my application, I want to ask that the variance is granted for me and my business, and it would expire when I'm not operating there. So that someone else couldn't come in and just operate another business without coming before the board.
And that's an interesting question.
Hmm.
When you grant a permit to operate a home-based business, you are granting the permit to the homeowner. The permit is granted to the homeowner. Because that's how you apply. You don't
So
apply. as a
so
third
if I
party.
did buy Witt's house with his business,
A homeowner.
if I bought Witt's house, do I need to apply for a new home business permit to operate the same business?
Well,
Homeowner or property owner?
Same difference.
I'm trying to understand.
Well, not in
the
this
nuance.
case.
If it was,
It is.
if Jason owned the property and lived
Michael
there,
Fritz.
I could issue him a permit for home occupation.
Yes.
Not a problem.
You're not
It would-
issuing a permit to Mr. Fritz, you're issuing a permit to
Well,
Jason.
the
Mr.
property
Fritz is the
already,
landowner and
Yeah.
he's an applicant also. Jason's the applicant, Fritz is the landowner. They both signed the application.
Okay, I didn't understand that. The applicant,
So-
okay, I read it.
So
It-
Jason is the applicant and
And-
Jason will give you,
and the property already has a home occupation permit, which was granted to the prior owner.
But those don't travel with the land.
Oh, I'm not so sure about
You think,
that.
Yeah, I'm
is that
not so
you,
sure either.
but are you saying that because you think they do travel?
I think they do travel. So Mike Fritz could operate a business in that workshop because he's got a home occupation permit that travels with his land.
Hmm.
That runs with the land. It's in the property records, it's part of the property records of the town of Elmore. That's something that he bought when he bought that land. That's what I think.
same as Elmore Mountain Bread, for example. They wanted to move out, somebody moved in and wanted to continue making bread there. They don't need any new permit.
I don't think they would need a new permit.
What about if they moved out and the residents next to the bakery, they rented out to somebody else as a renter?
Then they would be in exactly the situation that I'm in.
And I
That's why I'm
think that
asking the
would-
question.
and that, I think, would be a violation of the bylaws. Because for home occupation, for any home business, whether it's home occupation, whether it's, what's that, cottage industry or even
Rural.
rural industry, they're all home businesses. And home business implies that it's a business out of someone's home. So that means that that the person who operates the business has to live there.
I think, Jason, you're wrong. It's not the situation that you're in. Because this application is signed by both you and Mike Fritz. Mike Fritz is the resident, right? Or the,
Correct.
Yes,
He-
that's.
so he, I mean, what if I started a business out of my home? And I had an employee and I said, well, you run it. I don't need any income. You just, do what you're gonna do. That would be permissible in the home occupation.
I wouldn't think so. The home
Whose business is it?
occupation allows the home owner to operate the business, not a third party.
In terms of business law, not necessarily, but real estate law may be
Can
different.
I-
You can open a business and own the business and not be active in the business. You can be a shareholder. Or, owner of record.
Right, but we don't have that situation is.
I'm just,
not
yeah,
Here.
This is, it's the zoning bylaws.
yeah, that's,
Can I,
that's the question.
can I read
Yeah.
the zoning bylaw
Yeah.
on home-based
Yeah.
business? That might help. I mean, we're
And
all
then we have to go through the.
pulling out our,
It's on page 48, 4.5. Home occupation.
in the rural, I think that's for that district, because each district seems to have a different.
In the rural East District, home occupation is a permitted use. It doesn't require a conditional use.
I wasn't disputing
No,
whether it was
I'm just-
permitted
I-
use
I
that.
just offer that, you know.
I was just,
information.
I'm
I
just seeking to
I didn't
understand.
think you were disputing.
I was just
Yeah.
reading what is a home-based business. Maybe we don't speculate that.
Why is this thought then a cottage industry instead of a home occupation? Which I haven't read.
This is another area where I have some suggestions for the planning commission to make some tinkering. Make it a little more.
Business owners shall reside on, it's the same thing though.
No, they both specifically require that the
Yeah.
business owner live on the property.
Y'all are way ahead of me. The home occupations shall be conducted on site by residents of the dwelling and no more than 2 non-resident employees. Home occupation shall be carried on within a minor portion of the dwelling or a minor portion of the accessory building such as a garage or a barn. It doesn't sound like it's a minor portion of an accessory building. It sounds like that is the entirety of the accessory building. I'm just saying.
So the, all right, lost my page.
in
The
the-
issue here is that we're going back to the permit that has already been issued to occupy, to have a home occupation and use this structure to do it, all of that, rather than allowing myself a very continue.
Okay. The home occupation shall be carried on within a minor portion of the dwelling. No occupation. In no case shall the home occupation occupy greater than 50% of the floor area of the primary building. Exterior displays of goods, wares, blah, 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 or other exterior indications of the home occupation should not alter the residential character.
So,
No traffic shall be generated in subsequent greater volumes than would normally be expected. Home occupation shall conform to all performance standards. Off-street parking. So, and you're asking, why isn't it a cottage industry?
No, I settled that one pretty quick. But I think, you know, we can, when what you're asking is that we issue a variance,
that's what we're asking.
Okay.
That's what I'm.
which means regardless of what this says, we can essentially override it if certain conditions are met.
But what's the variance from an owner, from the owner having an employee? The owner, if Fritz is applying for the permit,
He's not applying for the permit. I'm applying for the permit and
He's the landowner.
You're not applying. for a permit.
the applicant is Jay
Variance,
Cohen,
thank
the
you.
owner. Okay, so that's the issue.
There is a permit.
There's a permit, but
The permit was issued to Whit. It's still there
yes,
and it's Mike's permit. Because Mike bought the property. What Jason's applying for is a variance. Because he can't meet one of the requirements of the permit, which is he doesn't.
He
own
didn't,
the property.
okay,
So let's look at the
So let's
variance.
look at the
Let's look at the variance.
thank you, Tom.
criteria.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing is
Yeah,
not,
it's-
it's not crystal clear. I know it's clear for you guys.
No, it's not that
Not
clear.
clear
It's
for us.
only clear because we've been.
Well, let's look at them. We've
Yeah.
got five
We're coming
things.
into this cold.
Yeah, no, I.
Variance.
We've had many, many meetings on this subject.
okay.
I do have this that I wrote down, that the unique conditions requiring the variance are that the permit to allow the cabinet shop does not allow a non-resident to continue to work. Relocating my home business is not practical. That's the unique condition. That I have a business there and relocating that business is not a practical matter. It's not.
You might also explain it's just not a matter of a workbench and a couple of tools. He's got equipment in there that are as big as a Volkswagen. Huge pieces of equipment and lots of specialty lumber stored there and very high-end cabinet making.
And that's what the building was built for. It's the only reason, it's the only means the variance would be the only means that I can continue to operate on Hayford Road. I didn't sell the property or create this hardship.
Can we go through I know
Let's
you're,
go through the
I know
elements.
you're going through them. Can
Can
we-
we? One at a
can we-
time.
Okay, so let me read them and we'll discuss them. Number one is that there are unique physical circumstances or conditions, including irregularity, narrowness or shallowness of lot size or shape, or exceptional topographical or other physical conditions peculiar to particular property, and that unnecessary hardship is due to such conditions and not the circumstances or conditions generally created by the provisions of the zoning regulation in the neighborhood or district in which the property is located. There are a number of elements here.
Yeah.
Irregularity, narrowness, or shallowness is not a requirement. It just says including, so there could be other conditions. Or exceptional topographic. And that, let's table that one for a moment and come back to it. Unnecessary hardship is due to such conditions and not the circumstances or conditions generally created by the provisions of the zoning regulation in the neighborhood or district in which the property is located. All right, take us through that one.
Sorry, which one was it?
Number one.
Number one.
Can you okay, can you remind me what page are these variants?
88,
88.
So I can see exactly what you're on.
Yeah. Talking about, 8.4B.
8.4B1. I mean, I guess the unique physical circumstances is that the shop is on Hayford Road. And that's where my cabinet shop is. This is a very unusual thing because I'm not asking to build something and saying that there's unique topography or anything like that. So none of these things
Are applicable.
seem to apply in the circumstance.
So that would say if you don't need the variance because that's unique, that shop could be anywhere. We're not issuing you a variance because that's the only place it can exist.
I would say-
It doesn't say that.
I would say that the unique circumstance that exists here is the sale of the property. Because when Whit owned the property and he worked there and Jason was his employee, it was conforming. Whit sold the property. And that created, that's the unique circumstance that has created for Jason undue hardship. And the undue hardship is that it's physically impossible for him to move that equipment out of that space where it is now.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a place to move it to. It would essentially put him out of business. So that's the circumstance, that's the hardship.
Yeah, it's not the physical characteristics of the property.
It's not.
It's other conditions that are pertinent to the situation.
Precise.
And I would agree with that.
Can I ask
Yes.
Jason a
Yes,
question?
Sheila.
Please.
So when Whit sold the property
Mhm.
to Mr. Fritz, what kind of agreement or arrangement do you have with Mr. Fritz?
I rent the building from him.
You rent,
Yes.
You have a
and do
lease?
you lease?
Do you mean,
Is
is
there a
there a legal
term?
paper trail for this?
Well, is there a period of
No.
time?
So it's
Is it documented?
I'm not sure how this is in any way relevant.
I think if there's a verbal agreement, it's still.
It's a month-to-month lease.
Oh,
Yeah.
So it's monthly.
Yeah,
Right.
a contract.
With the-
doesn't-
with the understanding that if he asked me to leave, it would probably take me 6 months.
Okay.
Okay. So are we in a, well, we can't.
Yeah,
An agreement, because we have to go into deliberative session for that. Any other questions about number one? Number 2, that because of such physical circumstances and conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strict conformity with the provisions of the zoning regulation, and that the authorization of a variance is necessary to enable the reasonable use of the property. That, well, I'll give it to you, Jason, first, before I start mouthing off.
I guess I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how to,
I think it's absolutely clear that, yeah, you conform, but this one, check.
I
Yeah.
think so too.
Yeah.
I mean,
This one's much easier to deal with.
there's no way that Jason can operate that business at that location in conformity. There's no
Yeah.
possibility of
Yeah,
conformity.
and I think you go to number 3 and you have the same thing. That the unnecessary hardship has not been created by the
right,
appellant.
that's where it was
You're-
created when the property was sold.
Yeah, Jason, you're the victim in this one. Well, the victim.
Again,
You're,
one word to use, but okay.
I don't want to ram this through. So far.
I think you're reading and making conclusions that we haven't even. That's a conclusion
Which,
that I'm just trying
oh,
to,
yeah, you're right. I shouldn't.
I'm just trying to keep up.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so
I-
number 3,
I'm asking,
Where's the easiest one?
I'm asking is why, to me, these aren't variance things. This isn't the intended use of a variance.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
stuck back at number 1, that all this variance language is about variances of how a property is to be
develop.
built, developed,
well, that-
used. But do variances apply in this case, in your
I
opinion?
did some research on this because it was a novel concept
Yes.
when it first came up, and we've had a lot of discussion about this.
Okay,
And because I, for 50 years, have viewed a variance as a dimensional variance.
Right.
Dimensional space, height, width, whatever. Not actually so. There are very good examples around the state of Vermont where variances have been granted based on situations not related to dimensions.
Okay.
Situational variance.
so
So.
the
it's-
resolution of
it's
this, you
happened before.
believe,
It's not-
is via variance.
Yes, and we're not breaking new ground in terms of what goes on around the state in terms of this legislation and various statutes.
That just puts more onus on this board to interpret the language of the variant and apply it to this, which is that's what my hangup is all this
A little different.
language is very construction and development of
Physical.
land and physical,
Yeah.
where this is not, that's not, so we're having to do a little
It's a different,
interpretation.
yeah, it's a different
Yeah.
thing, but it's clearly what we are required to do.
Okay,
So-
But it was a learning experience for me to read some of these decisions from other towns around Vermont. And
was there anything similar to this in all your learning?
yes,
Okay.
something, not specifically this, but a situational thing that had nothing to do with dimensions.
Okay.
Oh,
And a variance is I hate to use the word humanitarian, but it acknowledges situations.
That aren't clear and cut and dry
Yeah.
and you have to make,
Yeah.
okay,
It's exceptions.
exceptions.
Variances.
Yeah, it's almost the
Mhm.
same thing. All right, so we go on to number 4.
So 4 is probably the easiest one,
All right,
that the variance won't alter the essential character of the neighborhood or district where the property is located, substantially or permanently impair the appropriate use or development of adjacent property, reduce access to renewable resources, or be detrimental to the public welfare. Well, nothing is changing, so,
and there was a permit.
right, this shop has been operating there for over 20 years, and it's been operating at a higher capacity than it is now. So, yeah, nothing's changing to the building, physically or operationally. I'll continue to operate as I have been doing without any complaints.
Number 5.
5 is the variant will represent the minimum that will afford relief and represent the least deviation from the zoning regulation and from the plan. And it will, because all we're doing is allowing me to continue with the variance, even though I'm not a home. It's not my own.
Let me ask a question.
Yeah.
How long has the business been there?
Mine or a business?
That business, whether it was yours or not?
Well, there's two different questions. So a cabinet shop has been there for, it's gotta be 25 years,
And how long
Yeah.
has it been your business?
30 something.
over 30. I'm not exactly sure. It's,
Close enough. And how long has it been?
and I've been,
I built a house in Stowe in the year 2000 and we built my cabinets
26
in
years.
2000.
in the shop.
Yeah.
Okay. And so how long?
And
have you-
I've been operating there. I was working for WIT in 2012.
Well, how long is it since Whit moved on? And it's been yours.
Property in 2020.
2020?
Yep, that sounds right.
That's when it became yours, or when you bought it or inherited it or whatever.
That's when I was, from then on, I was operating
Okay.
in a non-compliant.
Well, the continuity is pretty well established.
So,
I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this, but I'll go with what Tom is saying, but I don't know that a home-based permit that the town of Elmore issues is issued for the property and not the homeowner. Before you answer.
what about other?
I'm just asking out loud.
Yeah, so.
Guys, I'm not challenging it. I'm seeking to understand.
It's a very good.
I'm seeking. to
I have a
understand.
question about other.
I haven't gotten an answer to my question yet before you ask another one though.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm related to yours.
Okay.
With other businesses, like the Elmore store. I know it's not a home business, but it's a business. They must have to have some kind of a permit, right? From the town?
Predates zoning, pre-existing
Oh, I was
However,
gonna
it's
say,
in the
do we
village.
have to issue a new permit?
It's in the village district.
in the village.
And retail is a permitted use. So.
Okay,
I think whoever wrote this ordinance kept that in mind.
So.
Okay.
So I don't mind picking on any business. I'll pick on mine. I'm a home-based business. When I applied for a permit for a home-based business, I was issued a permit. As a homeowner, I was issued a permit. I get licensing from the state as a business owner, right?
Okay.
So when I sell my property, I don't know, what we're saying is my permit wasn't issued to me, it was issued to the property.
I think
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, I don't know the answer to that question.
But that's salient.
That question requires legal research. And I would say that it's issued to both you and the property.
But
Because when you sell your property, you're gonna want one of the selling points of your property is that it operates as a
Could be.
business.
Could
Could
be.
be.
It could be a valuation.
Yeah.
If the permit travels. If the permit does not travel, it is of no value. If a new owner has to apply for a permit to do a home-based business, and I think that's salient to our understanding here, because what we're assuming is that the permit is that it's not Mr. Fritz that needs to apply as the homeowner, that it traveled with him because WIT has a permit, so therefore that permit travels and stays with that. So you can ask for a variance to that because you're not the homeowner. And I'm just, that's the foundation upon which you're asking for this variance. And I don't know the answer, because without that foundation, the variance doesn't apply. Because you're applying without owning the permit. That would mean Mr. Fritz needs to apply for a permit to run a home-based business, and then you would be his employee, and just like the arrangement that you had with WIT,
well, no, wait a second.
right?
That would
And then
be,
we don't need a variance.
that would be an option. However, that option's not on the table at this point for Mike Fritz to form an LLC, start his own cabinet business, and that I'm his employee. That's what you're
He
suggesting.
doesn't need to form an LLC.
Why does he need to form an LLC?
Well, you asked to register with the state.
I had to because it's different licensing for my business, but I'm not suggesting that he do it. I'm just asking, why are we doing a machination here? Why we are trying to leverage a tool that we haven't leveraged. This doesn't mean we can't, but I'm questioning why wouldn't the homeowner simply apply for a home-based business and get a home-based business permit of which
Well,
you're,
the reason why he hasn't applied for one is because he assumes that he has one.
oh,
'Cause he's assuming that it runs with the land.
Okay.
And I think perhaps Charlie can
Well, there-
address that, or maybe
there-
Charlie can do some research about that.
There are other reasons why he might not want to do that. And he doesn't need to do an LLC or a C corporation or a partnership.
Mm-mm.
What he would just as an individual, the sole proprietorship, he could do it. But putting that aside, if you generate income and he's the business owner, he could conceivably have a tax liability. So there are all kinds of other, or if, if a cabinet falls apart and hurts somebody, he would be liable. So you'd have to get insurance issued, and there are all kinds of other things, responsibilities that would come with it.
He's not the business owner.
Right, and there might be.
There is a way around it from a business law standpoint, in that you could form an LLC, which gives you 99.9% of the income and the responsibility. And he, you waive any claim against him. And, it's his home. He can operate a business with minimal ownership and the rest is yours.
but,
But that's.
so we don't know the
thing.
answer to that.
Yeah.
We don't know the answer to my question.
Well, we discussed that as an
Hmm.
option. We discussed the other ways in the zoning bylaws that I could continue to operate the
Hmm.
business. We discussed this with Charlie about whether the permit carries forward and how it could be done. And we discussed this with the neighbors about what the best way forward would be.
Mhm.
And this was basically the only one
Oh.
that everyone agreed that is great. And there would be no issues.
So my question to you and Charlie is, when you asked Charlie, the zoning administrator, does the permit travel with the land? There was an answer given. And what was your answer to that question?
My answer is that if the business is carried on by the occupants thereof, then it continues,
But it doesn't here.
but he's not
Yes,
an
well-
occupant thereof.
Well,
So
not,
that's what
in
he's
one
asking
sense he
for the
is.
variance.
He's not
He's not.
a resident, but he's an occupant.
No, it clearly says you have to live there in.
Well, I know, just.
That's why we're seeking the variance.
I-
Because it says you have to live there.
I got
I know.
all of
No,
that.
I know you
Well,
got
I
it.
got it. I
Yeah.
got it. So if we issue a variance, does the variance travel with the land?
Well, not, in my opinion, would be that if the variance included language that said that it would cease to exist when Jason ceases to operate, the answer would be no.
But that is a judgment that this board makes that we may not legally be able to make depending on how variances travel
Jason
with the
has
land.
requested that.
Jason's
Condition.
requested that. And everybody, and the neighbors are fine with that. So, I mean, it is, your questions are really good questions. But I mean, the question of whether it travels with the land or is issued to the person is one that we did discuss. And my recollection is that we concluded that it travels with the land.
Because
Let's,
Or in the underlying permit.
I'm I want to
But
play it.
the
If the variance, if the variance legally, like a permit, if this board issues a permit and that permit travels with the land and this board issues a variance, then I would think the variance
Well,
travels
no,
with the land.
because the variance requires.
But
the
once you
variance
issue a
requ-
variance,
No.
you've issued the variance,
But the
right?
variance,
I don't
the
think so.
variance requires
I-
that certain specific circumstances be present. Here, the circumstances are unique to Jason's situation. So once Jason is no longer operating there,
It
the
dissolves.
circumstances that justify the variance are no longer
dissolved.
there, and the variance should cease to exist.
Okay. I'm glad you guys really understand all of this well, because it's my first rodeo with this particular question, but there's a lot of confidence that everybody understands exactly how this works, and I'm just voting.
I'm not,
We've
fully-
had
I'm not fully
extensive
convinced either.
discussions on this with Mike Fritz and.
But I think all of that is relevant. If you guys have wrestled this to the ground, then telling the reason that this came is we have extensively reviewed this. The only thing that you haven't been able to tell us is, does the permit stick with that's the only one, right? Because if it does,
Well, then there's also, if we say no, that creates some hardships, to say the least. We say, yes, we issue the variance. Things go on as they have. We think, if we believe that all 5 of these items are checked off, in order to make a legal determination as to whether we have the authority to do this, somebody would have to appeal the decision to, up in the court system.
Of course, the only people that would have standing to appeal are the interested parties who are here supporting Jason's application for the variance. So
And
I
only,
think this-
and only within
so
a certain period of
So the
time.
board should have a comfort level that an appeal is extremely unlikely.
And that appeal would have to have, it's not like in 10 years, they
Right.
change their minds, that's not gonna work. Unless anybody else has something to
No,
say on this, I propose that we,
I have
Close
one
this.
other thing to say.
yes,
And that would be that the two conditions that I would like to see in the variance.
as an interested party here.
I'm an interested party. One, as an interested party, one is that the language of the variance will specifically state that it expires upon cessation of the applicant's operations. We've discussed that up and down. And the other is that I'd like it to say that the grant of the variance is not binding legal precedent or persuasive legal authority for any other future application by another person who doesn't reside on the property to operate a business there, and that any subsequent application would have to be considered on its.
Let me ask you a question. I think that's a reasonable suggestion, sir.
Yeah.
If we also, would we not accomplish the same thing by, should we issue this variance to issue it into a business operated by Jason? Period?
Yeah.
Does not accomplish the same thing?
Yeah. That's a cleaner way of doing it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for participating. Anybody else have anything? Yes,
I could just relate, I've had a similar situation come up in town where a local contractor would like to have a building in which to conduct his operation in. We can't find any building, any place in town where he can do this. He can be in a historic barn, but then he needs 10 acres according to the bylaws. So there's really
Well-
very, very limited opportunities for people to have
yeah, I see a
small
difference
business
between,
in town.
this is the new business? Or he's not
It's an
located?
existing business. He's a painter. He does most of his work
I
in
think I know- I
stone
think
or
I've-
somewhere
I've heard that
else. And he'd like to build a little facility where he can stain siding and stuff during the
The
winter.
difference is that Jason, or this business entity, no matter whose activity, not entity,
Right.
has been around for at least 26 years,
Right.
right?
But all I'm saying here is there's limited, very limited
Yeah, I
opportunity for
understand.
anybody to.
But for this guy, it's not a hardship. It's, go to Waterbury. It's possible.
Yeah.
But for Jason, it's a hardship. And that's one of the criteria,
Yes.
or part of one of the criteria. Anyway, we'll, unless there's something else we'll close this one up.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
I don't think so. I mean, I think I've told them what they need to hear, so.
Okay.
Do you have any other questions, Sheila, as you came tonight?
No, but really, the only reason I'm here and Caroline answered was because there was no quorum last month, and my question was, why is this still on the agenda?
Not enough people showed up.
Time that it's been on the.
Yeah, last month Caroline wasn't going to be here, so we knew that we had to
Yeah, we need,
put it off.
we have 5 people on the board.
It's fine.
We lose 2 because it's so
Caroline
good.
answered
Yeah.
with lack of
And
quorum.
Tom's my next door neighbor at the shop, so.
Okay. Most of our meetings are not this,
Interesting.
yeah, I thought they were interesting. Yeah, I mean, usually it's open and shut. Yeah, sure.
No, these were both,
Say what?
both amazing.
Yeah, it wasn't just, I thought this was going to be the easy one with Maybe it was. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. We'll close off the meeting and go into deliberative session.
I think we have more things on the agenda unless you want
Do
to
we?
table them for next time. You had.
What happens with this now? Do I get a decision in 25 days?
Yeah.
Yes.
You're just like everybody else
Okay, just
in the positive.
Oh.
I don't mean, that means.
We also have,
A shorter time. Yeah, we'll just do.
right.
deliberative.
I just you guys didn't say that.
before you guys leave, we have another item which you're welcome to stick around for. AI used to help review hearing transcripts, minutes, and you sure? You can take my place. Thank you for coming.
And we have,
We put that on the agenda mainly because, minutes are not being timely always, and I think there's a lack of, for me anyway, I have no idea how to use AI and how to minutes and
They have at
And
least
I-
two people here who know.
yeah, and when I did the minutes.
and I don't even know what program to buy to put in my phone to do that stuff.
Why don't you just move over one seat or let me,
Right.
either way is fine.
It's just, it's
So much-
so much easier.
Yeah.
It is.
So much easier, and it's more
It's like-
accurate.
It's like getting into Facebook. You just need to
It's,
get in and do it, right?
it's more that Facebook is
Yeah.
not, it's.
It's been more
This is a
interactive.
very, it can be a extremely useful tool. And it's exactly for this kind of thing that it is useful.
And I think we can set up templates to do it,
Yeah,
right? I'll set up a template so it's easy. It will take our transcripts. It knows who was in the meeting. You have to give it, I give it the agenda, so it has context. Who the board is.
You're getting way beyond.
Yeah, because I tried to do this, Caroline, when you suggested it, and you said that's what you did.
Yeah.
So I tried to do something like that, not having ever used it, like Charlie, I had no idea.
Yeah.
And I just tried to say, here's this, and it said, I don't know what you're talking about.
If the,
So,
And I don't know where to start,
my-
what program or how to even, remember my son telling me to boot it up. And I just had no idea.
I would,
where's the
I
learning?
have
curve?
one,
kick
Yeah.
your computer.
I had,
I have one
But it's
concern.
not as
about AI
difficult as
generated.
one.
One at a time. Tommy, go ahead.
I have actually two concerns about AI generated minutes. One is that there is a school of thought that goes this way. Minutes should be spare. They should not be detailed. Minutes should not be a transcript of the meeting.
Right.
And AI will tend to create something that might be much more detailed than we might want.
I think easily dealt with.
Yeah, easily.
Easily dealt with by
meeting
by
last
crafting.
night, and it
like-
went on for several hours, and the gal says, oh no, when I'm all done, I just tell AI to put it on 2 pages.
Yeah, or less,
So-
you just,
Right.
it's part of the prompt and how you design the prompt is really, and how you write the prompt, the instructions.
I mean, I have no,
I think
I have
Key-
no
the key
experience.
thing, That's the.
I have no
that's the skill.
experience with AI, so.
the board can decide.
Yeah.
What we want the template to look like and how verbose we want it to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
I-
less is more when it comes to minutes.
Correct.
This
Right.
was my,
Yeah.
my,
We're coming from
bias.
a place where we don't have minutes, or we have minutes that don't get published for months, or we have minutes that get challenged, or we have decisions that get challenged and we don't have it. I think the beauty of it is if we can decide as a board, if we can agree on the format and the length, the minutes can be produced. It always has to have human oversight. If I do them, I read it back and say, I don't think that's what was said. I think you have to have a coupling, and it makes it less of an arduous task, and it makes it happen faster. And I think we must, as a board, by the way, produce our minutes within 5 business days, 5 days of the meeting, and we're not doing that.
Yeah.
So if this is a
I think
solution
anything that can help us do that.
I'm
this is all
happy.
for.
to take it, have a format, have us as a group say, yep, that's the format and the length that we want. And that's what the prompt will do every single time. And or whoever our secretary is going to be, or whoever wants to sign up for minutes. But the system that we've been using for the last couple of years is
not working.
broken.
Carolyn, I was gonna say something about human oversight is an absolute requirement.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have done on complex issues is that we have used one AI platform to check the others.
Mhm.
So we'll run a report from one into the other and then ask them to condense it to, keeping or, just whatever you do, there's lots of ways of doing it. But I mean, we use this AI here and in China and in California, the three places where extensively, not for everything. And sometimes we fight over it. This is AI and you're wrong, blah, blah, blah. But for this is a simple task.
My recommendation beyond minutes is that we have decisions. Need to have that. I think Charlie does the best job we've ever had on decisions. But we do have language sometimes in them or things that I think at least give you another point of view of things to consider in the consideration of the decision. And you may throw it out and say, no, don't need that. But it's another set of eyes on a consistency across decisions. It's not a bad thing. And it's not hard. I think the town is going to have to decide potentially. I don't advocate that we use a free version. I think it's worth a free version. I think a $17 a month gets you a little bit
Oh, it's cheap.
better version. That's not for us to decide though. The town has to decide what they want to do. But that,
Depending on.
I think you can do whatever I think we can do whatever we want to do. I already, as a former select board person, I already had mine set up with all the zoning guidelines, all the Q&A, all the stuff. So it knows a
So,
lot about what's going on.
Carolyn, as a board, I'm not sure that we have to make a decision on that. I think whoever is the designated secretary can do it as long as they produce the product.
Sure.
That's
Well,
all
for
that we need.
example, Jason wasn't here and Paul was
Yeah.
designated as the clerk and it just,
Yeah.
When was this?
Last,
Last month?
last
Yeah.
month.
Okay.
And the wheels came off. It didn't
Well,
happen.
we're
But we
on,
need to be able to be flexible enough so that anybody can do this.
we're on Zoom, right?
So we can go back and make last month's meeting minutes from the recording.
Yeah.
last-
that was
don't-
my
Yeah,
conclusion.
we don't have to like type it in or anything.
So,
No, no,
Record
no.
it, it'll do it.
so when,
Yeah, access this and have this to it.
Yeah.
Would
it's-
love to have an.
Yeah.
so I have a question. When you do use AI to generate minutes, are you using the recordings?
You are.
So
use
I also
Transcripts.
use, when I try to do them by hand, and I would say, I'm sorry that you're saying they've been broken for a couple of years, because I've been doing them for almost that long. I'd rather not. I don't have time. And if they're not coming in with a timely fashion, that's
Well,
why.
You don't do all of them. I bet in the last couple of years, I've done it 5 times. I bet Paul's done it a couple of times. You do
I've done it
we
a
do
couple of
round- You've done it. We do a round robin on.
Yeah.
If you
whoever.
say so, it feels like I've done it consistently
Maybe.
with a couple of exceptions, but maybe I'm wrong. With that said, the ones that have done have felt like a huge burden because, and that's why it takes so long.
Takes on.
And partly because I don't have any of the experience that you have with AI, zero. The only time I tried to use it was try to do the minutes and it did not work at all. So what I do is, and this pertains to the AI part, that I try to watch the video and skim the transcript as I go and make this as concise as possible, real bullet points. And as I do, I see the transcript and very often it's wrong.
Hmm.
It's not sure who spoke, and when people speak at the same time, it messes up a lot. So how do you address that when you have AI use that transcript if it's using things that are wrong? Is that just when you go back and edit it?
You have to go back person. It's very difficult to do it if you weren't in the meeting, you didn't know what was going on and who was doing it. I find that the best results come when I also give it the agenda because it has some kind of context of what we were probably talking about,
Mhm.
right? I give it, if Charlie sends out a pre-read or any of that kind of stuff, I try to give it as much context about who was in the meeting. Hey, here's the agenda, but this person wasn't in the meeting. Here's the sign-in sheet. Here are the people who were in the meeting.
Mhm.
You give it as much as you can and say, by the way, we started with item 2 and not item 1, right? Just to give it some context.
You also do things like, let the minutes reflect that Jason made the second of the motion and, stuff like that.
The more we say and capture even in the transcript, the better, right? And I think you're right. I'm not saying this is a drop it in and you get out something perfect. It probably takes me, when I do it with AI, it probably takes me 15 or 20 minutes to do the minutes. I go back and read them and I go, why do you think Tom said that? And it's because the transcripts, you're leaning into a recording that is transcribing what we're saying and knows who said it. It's way better than doing it from memory. Or sitting here and capturing in real time. That's the only, but this is so much better. I mean.
Oh, I agree. I rely on
Not-
the.
Well,
But-
can we move on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the
I don't care.
conclusion?
Well,
Whatever
there
you
doesn't
guys
have to be a conclusion. If you're taking the minutes and you don't want to do it, don't do it. Yeah, but if Carolyn's taking the minutes or I'm taking the minutes and we want to use it, then we use it.
But I thought that we had to, like, at the beginning of the year, we were supposed to elect, I'm not sure,
That's the next.
clerk, secretary, and that hasn't really happened in like
No,
2 years.
Because we haven't had everybody here since last fall, at least. I think we were scheduled for a meeting last October or November, and we couldn't do it because we haven't had everybody here at one meeting since then,
Mhm.
or we haven't had meetings. in the winter.
We were supposed to, we did it last year. We did it last year because I drove it last year from the select board. This year, we haven't done it because nobody even had the expiration dates of terms. I brought those with me tonight so that we can make a decision. And we have all 5 of us here. So we can make a decision going forward. They're supposed to be appointed within 45 days of town meeting. That hasn't happened. Our minutes are supposed to be posted within 5 days of the meeting.
I will say I never posted it within 5 days.
But even
That was-
even if we had the expiring terms,
I was some.
we never had any.
Back when Jill-
We had never more than 3 people here.
Dump
Oh, no, it's
there.
Friday night. We can catch up.
Send it to whoever
Let's catch up in
Well, this
time.
is why it's important that all of us know how to do this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, the AI will put to
The
bed,
basics, yeah.
use it if you don't know how to use it or you don't want to use it. Speak up, when the time comes, but it's so much
You're
easier.
telling me you could do something in 15 minutes that takes me 2 hours and you
Yeah.
can no stress.
Yeah.
Either.
Yeah. As long as we have this on, it's like super simple. It's like I'm on like Zoom meetings sometimes 3 times a day.
I don't.
I have to turn it off when
If there's
some
some
people
way
just like don't want to use it for
I
them.
guess it was easy.
You know, I don't
everybody
know.
do it.
It's like morally
It is easy. You just have to have somebody show
an
you.
issue for them. So we have to deliberately turn it off. Otherwise, it's almost automatic. The way if you set it up, set up the Zoom application properly.
I think we have to decide if you're interested, the board needs, I like whoever the clerk is that we elect as clerk, do it the way you want to do it. If the clerk believes that it is too difficult, takes too much time, doesn't want to use AI, doesn't know how to use AI, any of those things, then you need to say, you know what, you guys, I'd like to be the clerk, but I don't want to be the clerk. I think it's all that stuff has to go into. We can't dictate as a board, you know what, to do minutes, you're gonna have to use AI. That just makes no sense to me. Do it however you want to do the job. If you want to be clerk, do it however you want to do it. I don't think
And
we need to dictate it.
Yeah, and if you don't know how to do it, somebody can sit down and show you. It's so super simple.
Happily. I'm happy to take an evening with beer. I would appreciate that. That's not bribery. Vodka. I like martinis a lot.
I would do it for.
If we all want to
Side.
have a meeting at the Roussel's house or
Yeah.
divorce house and
Sure.
sit down and have an AI session, I am delighted to do it. Happy to do it. Happy.
If we're gonna be drinking, it has to be at your house, or I could walk either way.
you can walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think that's
let's
a great idea.
let's figure out, and if you don't even want to do it to do the meeting minutes and you just want to know more, happy to do that too.
Yeah. I
When
think
they say it's like a revolution, it really is.
it's
You
strange.
just can't expect more from it than what it can give, understand its limitations and how to manipulate it.
So
This is even easier than normal stuff. Because if you start out the right way with the agenda and say, make sure that we don't talk over each other, it'll almost automatically do it. Then it's a matter of editing it down.
Mhm.
When you're using it for other purposes, it's all in constructing the question that you asked at what's called the prompt. And they're called prompt engineers now, which seems silly to me because I don't know what it has to do with engineering. But it's all in asking the question and providing the right amount of information and not leading it on and stuff like that. It's just I mean, the things,
And Tom, I asked for
Yeah.
detailed minutes. That's just where I came from.
Yeah.
And I sit in this, when I
Alright,
sat
yeah.
here for another purpose. The more detail of capturing what the conversation was, the better. I think they don't have to be detailed. I just always ask for detailed minutes. So if we as a board say, yeah, well, I like it, but let's curb your enthusiasm,
Yeah.
that's okay too.
Right.
So should we move on to, since we're all here, and
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you guys, I'm on, go to the grocery store and get dinner to take it home and make dinner, and it's 8. I'm sure my family's saying what's happening.
who's terms are expiring?
Okay, so
All right,
you wanna talk about Damata?
can we talk about officers and then come back to that? Because this is one of the few times we have all 5 of us here.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking that Demata could that follow a site walk?
It's what?
Right.
Have it follow a sidewalk so that we're all on the same page.
And
We're
I
not
think we
making-
don't want to record our deliberative session. So if we're going to talk about it, Alana, we shouldn't have it into it. We should
Close,
close the meeting.
tell the thing that you're closing the.
Yeah.
Well,
Closing the meeting.
Who made a motion?
Make the motion. Second,
2 seconds. Wagner,
Tommy's.
Waldman. Okay.
You don't mind being called Tommy, do you?
No,